You're listening to CX Passport, the show about creating great customer experiences with a dash of travel talk. Each episode, we'll talk with our guests about great CX, travel, and just like the best journeys, explore new directions we never anticipated. I'm your host, Rick Denton. I believe the best meals are served outside and require a passport. Let's get going. When someone posts something on LinkedIn or your fave platform, do you engage? How do you engage? What if you disagree with them? Are you looking to change their mind? Are you seeking to understand their perspective? Or perhaps do you ignore and just block? All of those thoughts flashed through my mind when I would read LinkedIn posts from today's guest, Alex Mead. Often I'd find myself nodding with eager agreement with what he said. Other times I'd be angrily pointing a finger at the screen saying he doesn't get it at all. It was at that point that I knew I wanted Alex as a guest on CX Passport. I'll tell you right now that Alex does not mince words, and I highly value that. He is laser focused on driving real actions in customer experience, customer service, customer approach, customer insert word here. He doesn't care about labels. He cares about action. Don't bring that fluffernutter ivory tower speak into an Alex discussion. He values protein, and that's what he delivers. I got to admit, I don't know where today's conversation will go. And just like I say in the podcast intro, often that makes for the best journeys. This will be fun. Alex, welcome to CX Passport.
It's a pleasure. Wonderful to talk to you. I love reading your posts as much as you sometimes love and hate mine.
Well, Alex, thank you. That warms my heart. I'm going to ask a question that could possibly take the whole episode, but we'll see how we can break this up. But let's just hit the main point right at the start. What's wrong with customer experience today?
Yeah, I could speak all day about that alone. So first of all, customer experience is a consequence of things. And I think 10, 15, maybe 15 years ago, there was customer service, there was sales, there was marketing, there was operations. Then along came this sexy buzzword, let's call everything customer experience. So to answer your question, to me, customer experience is made of two very distinctly different things. There's the brand, the product, and the marketing, which are actually pretty good. I read the personalization of offers is getting better and better. How did you know I wanted that? But
right.
The second part is the customer service experience. And that's the bit that is just so badly wrong. And I'll explain what I think's wrong about it in a second. But first of all, it's the definition. So we have brand, product, and marketing experience. That's the offers, that's the TV ads, that's the way that they send me incentives to buy things, the way they communicate to me, the products I receive, the packaging, the actual device. That is not an issue. But customer service experience to me means everything about our conversations, interactions, and needs with the company. So it's not just, hey, customer support. It's literally, hey, I'm interested in that product. I want to ask some questions about it. That's customer service experience. So even before you've bought something or made the decision, and how often are you looking at something and thinking, do you know what? I know it'll be impossible to even get an answer. So do you know what? I won't even bother buying it. Yeah. And then you've bought it and, damn, I need to change the delivery address. Sorry, sir, you're screwed. You can't do anything about that. And then you receive it and, there's something, I'm not sure how it works, so I need to return it. All of these things are just so badly broken. And to give us 3 specific examples, I have 4 credit cards in my wallet there. One I cannot use, and I've given up on them. So they're losing out on my purchases, my purchase power, and I can't use them. And the reason why is I travel a lot, and once every 2 or 3 months, they block my card because they assume someone's using my card fraudulently.
Right.
I play the game of, no, it's me, please release it. I stay in Bahrain, I travel. So Bahrain is always me. But every 2 months, a transaction in Bahrain gets declined, suspected fraud alert. And I'm like, oh, Lord above. And now there's no way for me. I sent them a message 2 weeks ago. They had a message facility. It doesn't work.
Oh, nice.
So I literally filled out the form. Hey, guys, this is the 5th time. Please just release the card. It's me. So the only other option, I can't chat to them, I can't interact with them socially, I can't send a web app message. I sit in their call center queue, and I've tried 5 times in the last 2 months. It's like 1 hour plus, and I'm like, okay.
Oh, geez. No.
Also, you're a UK credit card company. I'm phoning from Bahrain. That's £1.80 per minute, just to allow you to give me permission to your card. You know what? Forget your card. It's just nonsense. And then I wanted to buy, I had an airline ticket, a long haul flight, and I actually wanted to buy another leg more money for them, better solution for me. So instead of flying A to B, I wanted to go Z to A to B because there was
Right.
a change of circumstances. I wanted to give all that business to the same airline, so it makes life easier. Web chat, 2 hours in waiting, disconnected.
Mm.
Could I send them a message? Could I not just go to the app, the website, and say, "Hey, airline company ABC, could be anyone. That flight I've got, I want to fly from this airport. Can you give me some options?" That's what it should be. No, and I phoned them and I gave up on that. And it's just customer service experience is to me the most broken part of customer experience. I literally can't talk to companies how I want to, when I want to, and easily. And then for those poor agents you do get to talk to,
Yeah.
oh, I can't help you. I'm not allowed. Computer says no, or the system
Right.
won't let me, or I know. I love it when they say, "I know you're right. I'm not allowed to." It's like I feel so sorry for you. So,
They're like hitting pause on the call recording and saying, "Hey,
oh, for
I know the
sure. Yeah,
insights. I
yeah,
can't. I
yeah.
can't." So I'm curious about that. One, I love the way you've divided that up because I think one of the things I joke about when people say, "Oh, Rick, you're in customer experience. What do you do?" Or what is customer experience? I say that's like asking somebody what the word design is: industrial design,
Exactly.
graphic design, road planning design. What does that mean? And I like how you broke that down into that product marketing sales side and then the customer service experience. And I think I've even seen you post at CSX. Maybe that's something that can
Absolutely.
gain
Exactly
some
right.
traction
Yeah, yeah,
there.
yeah.
Why do you think? Because it feels like the former, the marketing, the product, the digital, the UX, whatever you want to call it, is the more sexy side of CX. People are more energized about it. People want to spend money there. Companies want to spend money there. Why do you think that CSX, which is what you're describing as the key area pain point for the customer, is so neglected, so ignored, not sexy? Why are companies not paying attention to it?
Two reasons. First of all, the bad reason, the frustrating reason, good bad depends on your perspective, is because if you look at almost every CX influencer, there's a couple of exceptions. They are all the brand product marketing CX side of things. So when
Okay.
people hear the word customer experience, they talk about journey mapping, insight, how you can personalize customer purchase patterns. There's so few people now who are CX people that understand digital, multi-channel, customer contact, how I can deploy a chatbot without it being the worst experience ever. They just don't get that. So first of all, the people who have the customer service experience skills are being lost because it's not seen as a specific skill and art. And
Okay.
if you jump into CX now, you're forced down this path of you need to get certifications, accreditations, you need to journey map, you need to focus on voice of the customer. For goodness sake, voice of the customer. How many surveys do we need to send customers? It's just off the charts. But I think the second reason is why people just don't get it is because, as I said, it's the definition. People hear customer service, they think, oh, that's supporting customers. Do you know what? We already have their money. We don't need to worry about that. They won't leave.
Mm,
It's fine. Whereas actually, if they realize, and what I do in companies is I make the first month is my remit is customer service experience, which means every customer life cycle stage. So a customer is interested in our company. They don't even know what brands. They're interested in a product. They're interested in buying that product. That is all customer service experience. Then I have to break that down to, so did you know that 40% of customers went to our website? We looked at the heat mapping. They didn't buy that product. They were hovering it over. There was no way for them to get information. So that is lost revenue.
yeah.
And did you know that how many customers ordered from us then cancelled? And I break it down to it costs you just as much money for CSX as it does for the brand product marketing stuff. And that's the toughest part of being a CX influencer, as the post I posted earlier today. That what are you influencing if you're a CX influencer? Writing books, getting accreditations, keynote speaking, no offense, I've done it occasionally, is who are you influencing? You're influencing the wrong people. If you can't influence a CEO, a CMO, a CTI, a CIO to actually get what CSX means, then it's just going to be shuffling the deck chairs on the Titanic. Literally need to fix things.
This is your captain speaking. I want to thank you for listening to CX Passport today. We've now reached our cruising altitude, so I'll turn that seatbelt sign off. While you're getting comfortable, hit that follow or subscribe button on your favorite podcast app so you'll never miss an episode. Love it if you'd tell a friend about CX Passport, leave a review so others can discover the show as well. Now, sit back and enjoy the rest of the episode.
Yeah. The thing that really catches me there as you're talking about it is that idea of I'm almost feeling like a high school sort of feeling, that it was the cool kids are on this side and the neglected kids are on this side, and those tables over there, but yet those are probably the tables that are going to turn out to be the ones that change the world, right? And so if we would improve CSX, we would actually change the world. Now, I will say this: I'm one that talks about total VOC all the time, and that's an important part of me. I love how you said VOC. How many surveys do we? Absolutely. Too many people think VOC means survey. It's so much more than that when you actually go from survey and score to listen and act. So I think you and I agree there that in the sense of a total voice of the customer approach is correct. This shallow, let's send a survey out so that we feel good about a score that's on a dashboard that we see in a monthly report. So you've had practical real world experience. Let's get out of the theoretical here for a second. You and I could spend an hour, trust me, talking about bad airline experiences or bad credit card experiences. But with that tangible real world, you've transformed companies from that crappy customer experience, customer service to being some of the best. I'd love to hear some of those stories and how you did it.
Okay, probably the biggest example, I've got several examples, but the one we'll start with is parcel delivery. So a decade ago, your parcel may be there tomorrow, Mr. Ms. Customer. That's the information you got. If it doesn't show up, deal with it.
Sorry.
And I joined a company that was delivering 500,000 parcels a day, a newly created board role. We got this guy, Alex, director of customer care. They called me there, and oh God, I need to change that definition. Everyone else on the board had worked in parcel industries. My Yorkshire accent, I don't know why I do it, because there were Yorkshire people there. It may not resonate with other listeners, but they'd always worked in industry their whole careers. They knew parcels better. Why have they employed this guy, Alex? He knows nothing about parcels, for goodness sake. Yeah, the guy's an idiot. And then I inherited my direct line control was the contact centers. That was it. Oh, and complaints. They gave me that. So you can have contact, but there were...
There's gold there. There's gold there.
Indeed, there were. There were 6,000 people in this subsidiary of a 60,000 employee company, but I reported to the group CEO of the group. So he kind of like was mischievous. He said, I'm going to employ this Alex. Tell the board of that parcel company he's my little pet project. So you better not take what he's saying seriously, So they hated me with a passion. Oh, you're a teacher's pet,
That's a good start.
Exactly. So the first thing, and I know we're going to talk about it at some stage, is I realized I've got to earn their respect. If I go in there and say, hey, so I went out with delivery drivers at 4 a.m. I went out to the hubs sorting parcels at midnight. But I also went out with they had a field sales team of 200 guys out in their Audi A4s and BMW X3s, the usual guys. And they would go and visit the retailer and say, hey, let us deliver your parcels. We're better than courier company A, B, C, D, etc. And they were all pushing for price. We'll do it 2 pence cheaper per parcel than these guys. And all this time I was picking up and listening. But what I already knew before that was customers were saying, my God, this company's terrible. I waited in all day for the parcel to come. The tracking says they tried to deliver it. They're liars. I was here all day. And there were thousands of these. And then people were saying, I sent a complaint 6 weeks ago. I suppose they're probably delivering the complaint response and that got lost as well,
Right.
So I knew from a customer perspective, it was a car crash. And the data I had, there was no CRM system. So I couldn't get any wire customers contacting us. There was no survey, VOC, medallia, whatever, satmetric solution where I could see what customers are happy or unhappy about. But I knew on every day, 1 in 5 parcels resulted in a phone call. So 100,000 phone calls would be delivered.
20%? Good gravy.
And in theory, we had automated self-service. So these are almost 90,000 something's gone wrong phone calls. And I'm talking the net, not the individual customer phone calls. So as I'm going out with the driver, as I'm going with the field sales guys, I'm not listening I'm thinking, okay, why is this happening? And I realized 2 things. The field sales guys, the account managers, the poor guys, they're going to sell stuff. The first half hour, they're getting shouted at by the companies. You guys are useless. You always let us down, blah, blah. Our customers complain to us. We get thousands of them because you don't deliver. So I'm thinking, okay, I hear what you're saying. You basically, you want us to stop your customers being upset because we don't deliver parcels when we say we're going to. So that's not rocket science to understand that. But then when I'm going out with the drivers, I'm realizing, okay, we've got all this, these wonderful parcel logistics tracking systems, but no customer interaction situation is linked to that. And lo and behold, I realized these guys would go along and the parcels would be stuck in the back of their vans based on The route the driver knew in his head was the best route because he delivered the area for the last 20 years. So, Then along came nasty Amazon saying, that parcel will be delivered by 9, that by 12. So they're, oh, bloody Amazon, ruin my world. I can't deliver parcels how I want to. So suddenly we had to do this thing called route optimization. And we realized the drivers were giving routes that technology said was the smartest way to deliver their route. And they were going along and it would say, now you need to deliver this parcel at 11:30 a.m. to this industrial estate. And they'd go, well, there's no point going there because I know they're on their coffee break between 11 and 12. They don't take deliveries, stupid software. It's a load of rubbish. And then I'd see on a piece of note saying, please phone the customer when you're 5 minutes away. They'll come down and let you into the apartment block. He's like, I ain't got time to phone the customer. Oh, we'll ignore that one. So the tracking software was wrong. And whatever the consumers were telling the retailers, special instructions, the drivers were either not getting it or not caring a damn about it. And all of this put a big picture in my head that, okay, clearly something is wrong. Drivers are pretending to deliver. They press the button in the PDA, it says I tried to deliver, but they have reasons in their head that are potentially valid. And customers are just getting fed up. I realized we weren't a broken company, it was a broken sector. So how could we do something that would reduce all these customer issues, piggyback the transformation that was happening and make us stand out? And I said, okay, of these 90,000 plus phone calls we get per day, sitting with the call center agents, you could hear most of them are, what time's my parcel coming? Or why didn't it come when you said it would? That was 90%. So what time's my parcel coming? Surely if we can give them an idea ahead of that, now we have this route tracking, how awesome would that be? Rick, your parcel will be there between 9 and 11. Press this button to reschedule if there's an issue. Wow, that'd be amazing. And then, but also the biggest thing is when we said we'd be there between 9 and 11 and we didn't fulfill that promise. So I realized, okay, we need to make it easy for customers to contact us. So they go to the PDA, the app, whatever, and here's my parcel, here's my issue. And I literally, the vision became clear within 3 months. We need to be the only company that will tell you when to expect your parcel, allow you to track the driver's GPS. When I come up with these ideas, I'm looked at like I'm the biggest village idiot. And if we let you down, make it easy for you to contact us, we will own your issue and we'll put it right. Those were my three. Alex, you don't understand parcels.
You're crazy, Alex. Yeah.
But I knew if we did that, and each time you've got to break down, what are all the things that prevent us doing that? Yeah, they don't want to.
Yeah.
There was nothing that could prevent us doing that if we were all in. So I went to my pet buddy, the group CEO, who obviously used that power. And, you've got to win their hearts and minds, Alex. Oh, God. So I literally had to stand up in front of 3,000 parcel delivery drivers at 70 different depots, explain to them the vision, explain how we're going to support them with data. Cut a long story short, one and a half years later, we delivered 90% of what I said, and we are written about it by the Telegraph, the Times, the big media, and the only parcel delivery you can trust, and their service is amazing. And I'm like, yay, finally.
That's so good. And I love the way that started. Here's what I love about your story and the way it started. Yes, the pet CEO, right? That part of it. But the fact that you started by listening to your customers, but by living your employees' day in the life, getting in the truck, getting in the sales cars, getting out there with the customer, getting as close to the customer as possible by being there with the employees, that front line who are right there actually creating the experience with the customer. It amazes me how many companies don't value that. That even something as simple as just having call listening sessions and even better, having a leader actually take calls, those are the kind of things that would shock a company. You must have, I imagine this is something you've used as a tool before. Why is that so valuable to have get out there with the customer? What is it that you're hearing when you're right there side by side with the employees?
Well, yeah, and this is again, a great question. So people say, hey, the board should go and sit by the call center agents. They're not going to do that. So you have to, if you're the CX person in the company, whatever title you have to be the person that takes their experiences to the boardroom, to the senior management meeting. So I literally, you learn the hard way. I once presented what I thought was a watertight case. Why we were losing sales, why we weren't retaining customers. It was a travel company, actually. We were selling tours around the world, cruise ships, everything. Let me explain the journey. So basically, they were looking at, customers that talk to us about a Nile cruise 20% of them convert. That's pretty good, right? And that was in their mind. And what the actual journey was, the customer would have the brochure, phone the number, they would go through a brochure hotline agent who would say, can I have the 12-digit alphanumeric tour code you want us to find out about? And this is a tiny little code. And our target audience was 65 to 75. And they're like, so half of them were hanging up then. And the other half would be told, okay, here's the code. And then they would be put into a queue to be answered by the Nile sales team, who didn't answer 75% of them within 10 minutes. So they abandoned. So,
yeah.
I managed to go and visit a customer who lives near our head office. I asked them, I said, can I just sit alongside you and observe the process? So I screenshotted her laptop, signing in. She had the brochure, and I exactly showed the whole thing, and I played it for 5 minutes to the board.
Yeah.
They were, okay, stop, Alex, stop. We get it. Okay, how do we fix it? So, but you're never going to get them to listen to the call. So you have to, don't just show the data, don't just show the journey maps, literally give a real example.
It is something so valuable when you bring the customer's voice. We talk about voice of the customer, but I mean the literal customer's voice into. So I talk a lot about call listening, but even I have, and some of it is, a little calculated. You choose the calls that might have the most emotional impact. But when you've got a customer that's crying on the phone because of something that the company did, it is amazing how the eyes just get wide amongst the leadership team, and they realize we're impacting real lives, not just numbers on a spreadsheet, but real humans with real lives. You and I guarantee we could talk a lot about this. Maybe we need another episode that's just simply how do we bring the customer's voice into leadership. But I want to ask you something. I'm talking to you in Bahrain. I'm sitting here in Texas with a bunch of passports logos behind me. Clearly, I love the globe. You've had this incredible global experience. And I'm curious, what's it been like with so many countries checked off your list? What's it like when you think about the real world application of customer experience, and just what's it been when you've worked in all of these global destinations?
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't just done the big obvious places. I set up a contact center in Costa Rica, Ecuador, Ghana, Kenya, all places where this was 15 plus years ago when I first did it. And we were the first to do it.
Yeah.
And realized, first of all, we get impatient in the US and Europe and UK, like 5 minutes in a call center queue. My God, these guys will literally stand for an hour outside a retail store to just return an item or go and buy it. They don't get as frustrated, and also they don't care about multi-channel convergence. If they send an email and then phone you, they don't expect that to be a joined up experience. That's the case 5-10 years ago.
I was going to say, has that evolved over time? Absolutely. Has that expectation escalated?
Now it's almost turned about face, because now they expect, they don't expect to ever have to sit in a call center queue, as we still tolerate the big blue chip companies in the US and UK and Europe. They still force customers into call center queues, or in South America and Asia and Middle East. What, I have to phone you? It's literally seen as what planet are we in? What century are we in? I still have to make a phone call. It's literally the last channel you expect.
When you're traveling at 30 plus countries, when you're all over the world, sometimes it's nice to just take a little break. And so how about you join me here? Let's take a little change of pace. Join me here in the First Class Lounge. We'll move quickly here and have a little bit of fun. What is a dream travel location from your past?
The toughest, in sarcastic speech marks, place is Grand Cayman in the Cayman Islands. I had a 3-month assignment there, which was wonderful. Yeah.
That's awesome. I actually have family that have lived on the island for, they may have been there for 30 years now. My aunt and uncle live there, so we do get to go there. So I'm sorry that you had that hardship assignment. I hope that you survive. What's another hardship, or what's a dream travel location you've not been to yet?
I think Hawaii. I'd love to do Hawaii. It's a long way from everywhere I work, though.
I know, it's funny. Yeah, for me as an American, it's still a long ways for me, but at least it's another one of my states. I could just bip over there, if you will, on a 6-hour flight. You're right that it is quite a journey from the UK or Bahrain, where you are now. What is a favorite thing to eat?
Strangely, spaghetti bolognese has always been my go-to meal.
Why do you start that sentence with strangely? That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, absolutely. But you'd think I've experienced so many meals. It's when I was a child, my mum would make me avocado with prawns and spaghetti bolognese and black forest gatto every birthday. Alex, what do you like? So it became like spaghetti bolognese, and everywhere I go, that's the first meal I try. But it has to be a good one, not an average one.
Yeah, but boy, that sounds really good. You know, it's funny, Alex, when I ask that question, I do get an answer often that's very comfort foody, right? It's not some exotic, I've traveled the world type. It often is a childhood meal or something like that that's very comforting. So, but in that vein of childhood, we've had some opposite experience. What is a thing your parents forced you to eat, but you hated as a kid?
Uh, Tried to force me to eat sultanas, raisins, currants, call them what you want. We have a thing called Christmas pudding. I don't know if you have it in the US, which is like a pie after the turkey, and it has raisins, sultanas in it. And I realized when I'm young, I can't eat sultanas. The taste there. And whilst you will sit at that table until you finished it, young man. The whole family are watching the movie, and I'm sat there like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, getting So we got a dog. We got a dog. That was the best thing that happened.
Oh, yes.
Dog was great. And then I even stuffed it in my pockets one day and pretended to eat it. So yeah, sultanas, I can never eat them. Ugh. But they tried for many years to make me eat them.
That's I hear that a lot of the being forced to sit at the table. And I was guilty of that in one specific instance that we joke about in my family with my first child. We did not do that with my second child. So perhaps we are breaking the chain for future generations. With all your travels, what is one travel item you will, and not including your phone, of course, but one travel item that you will not leave home without?
Interestingly, it's my Kindle. Yeah, so I love to get lost in a book. If I'm on a long haul flight, yeah, I'll watch a movie, but I prefer just to get lost in a Stephen King or Dean Koontz or those sorts of authors.
Yeah, for me, Alex, it depends on the length of the flight. I may need a little bit of movie, a little bit of book, a little bit of movie, a little bit of wine, a little bit of sleep. But yeah,
Absolutely.
I too, I tend to find myself migrating more that book direction. I want to go back to talking about the front line, and I'm looking at the clock. We may be kind of running out of time here, but I do want to ask you about that front line. And we joked about my keynote, and yes, I've given a talk and have done sort of the keynote thing, but I point out how important it is to get information from the front line. We talked about that, but it's also important to get that information back to the front line, that we don't just use them as a source of info, but we provide them info. And I know you've talked about experiences. You even mentioned some earlier where the front line just simply wasn't given the information they needed to create that great experience. What's it like when you see that scenario, and how have you helped get that information to the front line so that you can help turn that situation, that customer experience around?
Okay, I'll stick with the parcel delivery story because
All
I've
right.
been there. So as I said, when I joined, I had 3 contact centers, about 400 people reporting into me. There were another 800 customer care staff across the depots, 75 depots who reported to ops guys, depot managers. 6 months later, excuse me, all of them reported into me, and we created a virtualized network of over 1,000 customer care staff, some of which were working in the operations depot world, some of which worked in the contact center. The reason we did that is if you were a consumer, the likes of you and I, waiting for your parcel and you had a question, you dialed the contact center number. The contact center would answer it. They wouldn't know where the parcel was. They would have to phone the depot, who then look on their system and try and get hold of the driver. So, okay, let's make you all one set of people. And you know what? Let's give the same data they have in the depot to you in the contact center, and vice versa. And so that literally, but whilst these guys were reporting to their local depot manager, they only cared about their depot's deliveries. They didn't care about the other 74 depots. So now this one big virtual team. One of the toughest changes I did was, okay, we're now going to have a model where whether you're a business customer or a consumer like you and I, you're going to dial a number. It's going to go to the agent that's waiting longest in any depot or any contact center. Oh my God, you can't do that. I only like talking to business customers in Yorkshire. No, you could get a consumer customer from Southampton. And
Yeah.
again, the hearts and minds was tough, but suddenly it took away the wasted call from here to here. Literally, whoever answered it would have the data and information. So the information was huge, but the biggest part was then the empowerment, what to do with that information. So getting agreement with all these depot managers that if we saw a driver had false carded, and we could see that because we knew every driver's GPS route. We knew when he pressed that button, if he'd actually gone to the customer's address. The customer care agent could say, "Hey, driver John, whatever your name is, I noticed you may have made a mistake with that delivery. Can you please go back and fix it?" And they were empowered to tell drivers, "You better go back and fix it." We took that one stage further. The customer didn't even have to point it out or complain to us. When they pressed, "I tried to deliver," it would flash up an alert on our CRM system and say, That looks as though he wasn't anywhere near the address. Someone look into it. And no longer do we measure anyone on calls answered, chats handled, etc. We've measured them on fixing customer issues. So if I answered an issue from a customer who would say, "Where's my parcel?" I then was allowed to get off the phone, chase down that depot, chase down that driver. And if the driver said, "Oh, I didn't deliver it, I'm going back to the depot," we'd come up with a solution. Okay, how can we still get that parcel to that customer? And the agent could phone the customer back and say, "I'm really sorry, there was an issue. You can collect the parcel from the depot, it'll be there at 7 p.m. or can we send it somewhere else for you tomorrow?" And that information empowerment just transformed everything. It was amazing to feel the cultural difference in the whole environment.
That idea of feeding them the information, so GPS and all the information so that the customer service person knows actually what's happening, but then also providing that. I imagine it's somewhat, so we talk about the word empowerment, but there's that satisfaction. Okay, it's broken. I've got an upset customer. I have a way to solve for that, as opposed to, just be empathetic and try to understand the customer's pain, log the issue, and then move on. I'm going to cheat a little bit because I know we're way out of time here, but I want to ask you a dangerous question because it could spin us into another 7 episodes. But I know that we started with the dissatisfaction of what's happening in customer experience today. So in the interest of perhaps succinctness, I'm curious, you get to fix one thing. What would you fix? How are you fixing customer experience today, Alex? What are you going to do? What's your one thing?
Very simple. Make it easy for a customer to tell you what they need help with. There's so much data. You sign into an app or website or whatever, social media, the company knows who you are. They know what orders you have. They know what quotes. They know the status of everything. Just let the customer say, "Hey guys, that order's supposed to be here today. It's not here yet." Message sent. Done. Nice. If they want to phone you or that's fine, but just let them send you the message. And then you deal with it as a company. You deal with it. Why do they have to go through all the pain of telling you what their bloody issue is? Make it easy for them to tell you what their issue is. And then you can fix that issue, but you can also look at all the other similar issues. So that's why I say VOC. VOC is amazing, but you can the first thing is let customers tell you what they need help with.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. I love it. What's one thing? Make it easier for the customer to just message you. Okay. Alex, brilliant. Absolutely love it. If someone wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you to learn more?
Just go to my LinkedIn profile or alexmead@sky.com.
All right. Alex, I have enjoyed this conversation today. Even in areas where I might not see eye to eye with you, I still thrive on what you're putting out there. Keep it going. Brilliant conversation, Alex. Thank you so much for being on CX Passport.
It's been a pleasure. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us this week on CX Passport. Make sure to visit our website, cxpassport.com, where you can hit subscribe so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, you can check out the rest of the EX for CX website. If you're looking to get real about customer experience, EX for CX is available to help you increase revenue by starting to listen to your customers and create great experiences for every customer every time. Thanks for listening to CX Passport, and be sure to tune in for our next episode. Until next time, I'm Rick Denton, and I believe the best meals are served outside and require a passport.